The two first decades of the 21st century, also known as the era of the Great Replacement, saw London transform into a non-white city, with ethnic Britons roughly making up 37% of its population. Ethnic Europeans had become a minority in what was once one of the most glorious cities of the Roman Empire and capital of the former British Empire. The same demographic trend was naturally reflected in the UK's police force. African settlers would take on the role of police officers and patrol neighborhoods that were once majority European. Equality of the sexes, established a couple of centuries earlier, had given women the freedom to pursue a career in the police force. Therefore, men and women of indigenous, African, Asian, or Arabic descent would form a multi-ethnic police force that would police ethnic Britons and naturalized settlers alike. Most white Britons at the time did not seem to perceive the demographic change of their cities and police force as a major threat to their sovereignty, even though by 2020 it had become clear that they no longer controlled their capital city, which was already run by a mayor of Pakistani origin. As if they were in an inexplicable cultural trance, they just faded away. In the famous Carnival of Notting Hill, established in the late 20th century as a celebration of Caribbean supremacy in London, audiovisual evidence suggests that African settlers could even get away with groping female police officers of ethnic British descent. It is no surprise, however, that African policemen, patrolling a majority non-white London, would often grab random women from the crowd and perform primitive dances simulating sexual acts upon them. Most women, even ethnically British, would happily comply, exposing their rear end so that the African occupying forces could perform their dance. Just as in the case of Germanic nomads in the Western Roman Empire, in Britain, the process of exposing African settlers to European culture also came with the side effect of ethnic Britons adapting African traditions and morals. A multi-ethnic human mass would compete in an immoral and pervasive over-sexualized dance run by African majorities. Legislative evidence suggests that sexual harassment laws were significantly broadened to the extent in which a mere compliment could be considered as sexual harassment. Taking that into account, historians are baffled as to how authorities and foreign settlers could get away with that much groping. An intelligent guess would be a combination of two factors. One, female emancipation, which stripped men from the right and eventually the willingness to protect the honor of their women, and two, a lack of willingness on behalf of women to report cases of sexual harassment when the perpetrator was an African or Middle Eastern settler. It is therefore a case of selective application of the law due to a difference in reporting patterns by the victims. Yes, it is safe to assume that in 21st century London, a native Briton could be jailed for a simple compliment, but an African occupant could get away with actual groping, known as daggering in contemporary street dialect. If you are fascinated by 21st century history, consider liking and subscribing. Thank you, and see you soon.